Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now most of the time I'm doing some type of craft. And I am going to make a little something on this, but basically I wanted to do not really an unboxing, but my putting together of them the first use of this little craft press that I received from Vevor. Now this is how it came to me straight out of the box. It was put together, but the platen was down as you see it here. I have a bag of cords and then the control box. And then unlike some presses, they actually included instructions, which is really nice. A really nice thing about this one I see in here is the heat ranges from 200 to 450 degrees, so this could easily do sublimation. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and put the control panel on, and this is super easy to do. Here's the control panel. The power button is right over here. There's a slot on the back for the power cord. And then this right here, it's metal. So you have your metal piece that slides right into here. Now, one thing that I'm noticing is this really needs a little bit of lubrication. It's going to slide up and down much easier if you do that. Now, there's a lot of different types you can use, but I'm going to use this white lithium grease. With this product, it's thick and it's white, so you can see exactly where it's going, and it's not just going to drip all over the place. Now, obviously, that's a lot. I'll rub the extra off. The other thing is, this is not going to cause anything to rust. It's made for things like this. Again, probably not in the amount that I used, but that's okay. I'm going to put a little bit more on at the bottom, and then I'm ready to move on. Now, if my husband saw how I was using this, he'd probably be mortified, but as long as it works out in the end, we're good. Okay. Now, before I turn this on, I want to get this plastic out from under it. A nice thing about some of these presses, and this one was very light. Not very light, but I could easily carry it up the stairs. But it has these handles. Now, I didn't carry it up the stairs with the handles. I had everything in the box. I'm in my late 50s. I was easily able to carry the box up. So that is one true benefit of this press. All right, so let's power this up. Okay, so it has these little suction feet. That is nice because not only will it probably keep it from wanting to tip and move around, but it's going to protect my table. So I'm going to go ahead and screw those in. Now it's suctioned down and I can't pull it up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish this part off camera. Now, while I was doing that, there is this knob right here. What that does is it makes it where this won't turn because this is a swing away. So I tightened it up so that this wasn't wobbling all over the place. Now I want to go ahead and loosen that up because I will use this as a swing away. Now it freely moves. So just a couple more steps and then we're ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the power cord here. And then before I plug the other end into an outlet or an extension cord, I want to go ahead and plug this in. So at the end of this cord, there's some holes that prongs need to line up with. So you just plug this into the side of the control box, having the holes and those prongs line up. Then there's this little collar. You just screw that collar down over where you connect, and it holds it so it doesn't fall out. Now this craft press is a 10 by 12, so it's pretty small, and you can see it's about the same size as the largest Cricut Easy Press. So if you are super happy with this size, but you'd like to have a press that you can press down, have even pressure, and not have to worry about it, this might be a good press for you. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. We have that little rocker switch that I showed you. Now mine is defaulted to Fahrenheit, and so that's good. If I press the set button, I can see what temperature it's defaulted to, so let's check that out. And I'm going to go ahead and take this up to about 385. We'll do something with sublimation. So you just use these up and down arrows. So I'm going to press set again. Now I'm setting the time, and it was defaulted at 5 seconds. I'm going to go up to 45. I'm going to set one more time. Now it's giving me the option to change it to Celsius if I want. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on Fahrenheit, so I'll say set. Now I'd accidentally only put this to 365, so I had to increase it by 20 degrees, and I'm going to do 3 little projects. Now these are just sample projects. They're nothing I'm going to use, but I want to see how well this works. So I'm going to do an earring that I sub Cricut Infusible ink on. I'm just going to take a piece of fabric and put some type of little sublimation image on it just to make sure it works well. And then I'm going to do my favorite, rhinestones. Now, if it'll do all these materials, then it's definitely going to do heat transfer vinyl because that requires lower heat. Now, one thing I always do, I always protect my heat pad. And especially when your blank is smaller than what you're going to put on it, then you are definitely going to get some bleed through around it. So be really careful. And even though some papers say you don't have to use paper, I just always do, just be careful. Paper is super cheap. I get a huge roll of it off of Amazon for really not very much. Now my larger heat press has these removable pads too. That's kind of a nice feature because you can always just take these off, get your project ready, and put these back on. With this being a swing away, you have plenty of room to work here as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the sublimatable side down on my Cricut Infusible ink, and this is just a scrap, so I don't have the carrier sheet on it anymore. So I'm going to put enough tape on just so it doesn't shift around. Then I'll cover over it. Like I said, I always use paper, even if they say I don't need to. Now I might need to adjust the pressure on this. I didn't think about that. Now I'm not sure how you get it to start. All right, so that's going to be something I'll have to figure out. For now, I'm just going to time that. So that worked beautifully. Now see all that ink that went through? Let's see if it went to the second layer. A little bit did. Hopefully it didn't get on my brand new pad. Okay, y'all, I figured out the start button, and it is so easy. They really streamlined it. So I'm very happy about that. Let's go ahead and do another sample. Now on this one, I have 100% polyester. I want to go ahead and preheat that just for about 10 or 15 seconds. That's going to remove moisture and also make it a nice flat surface. Now look, here's how you start it. So the countdown, you push the down arrow, the countdown starts down. Again, I just want to do this 10 or 15 seconds. So I press it again, and it sets it back to 45. All right, I need to let that cool off just a little bit, otherwise my print could start sublimating before I'm ready. Now this is a super cute image. Now with sublimation, most all the time, you reverse your image. The only time I can think of when you don't is when you're doing a cutting board and you're putting the image on the bottom and it's coming up through your vinyl. Now since this is a sample, I'm just going to use one piece of tape. I think that'll be fine. Now let's go ahead, lower the platen, and then push this down arrow. Now when you're removing your paper from your item, if it's still really hot, you have to be really careful that you don't slide it. Because if you do, it can cause some ghosting. That is so cute. Then the last thing that I'm going to do is this little koozie. Now I have some parchment paper inside because sometimes when you heat these at high temperatures, there's some things inside that can stick to itself. So that's why there's paper inside. Again, it's parchment paper. Now let's figure out how to get this fairly centered. It may not be perfect, but that will be okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosen this a little bit because that koozie holder, or the koozie, is pretty thick. And again, that turned out cute. Now this is pretty hot, so be careful, but that turned out very, very nice. Now, as much as I love rhinestones, and I particularly love the Baby's Booties rhinestones, this isn't a rhinestone video, so I'll make this part quick. The flock that I have here is some I got off of Amazon. It works okay, but I would highly recommend the Heat Transfer Warehouse flock over this. This is more difficult to cut. And then this Hot Fix transfer tape, this is KTM mask. It's also from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and I'll link to that. I have an extra stone up there. Let's put that up. And then I can just pick up my stones. Now I'm going to put this on an old bag that I made. And on this bag, this was before I discovered real rhinestones. This is holographic heat transfer vinyl. If you're not sure if you want to do rhinestones, you can try some of this out. It is beautiful, but honestly, there's no comparison to the real thing. So I'm just going to put the word Jeep right there, kind of angled. And then because this is heat transfer vinyl, I do want to cover that with a Teflon sheet. Now this is really bulky right here, so I need that off the edge of my pad. All right, I'm going to do this at 350 for 12 seconds. And it worked beautifully on those. Now, even though it's not a rhinestone video, I can't help but tell you, keep this transfer tape. You can use that until it's not sticky enough to pull up rhinestones anymore. Now, here's my final thoughts on this press. I like the fact that it was light enough I could easily carry it upstairs. I could put it all together myself. There was nothing high-tech about it. It has a great range of heat settings, and it did a great job. So let's go ahead and take a look at our projects. On this can koozie, that came up beautiful. Then I have this sublimation earring, and that is Cricut Infusible ink. It is gorgeous. And then on some 100% polyester fabric, I have this image as well. Then lastly, my favorite subject, rhinestones. I pressed that on with this press as well, and it did a great job. So if you're in the market for a smaller heat press like this at $98, which is what it was today on Amazon, it's a really good buy. If you need a larger one, then look around and get one of those instead. So thanks so much for joining me today, and until my next video, bye-bye.